It's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Well, I think it's safe to say that didn't work, where everybody was going to be thrown from the last one into the new podcast, but into the new stream. But thanks so much, everybody. Just in case you're wondering why you're inside here, and for those of you who are listening to this in two different podcasts, we were trying something new there, and I don't think it is worked. But welcome everybody to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast again. We've just done our West Ham preview. Go back and listen to that if you haven't done so already. But now, it's been ages since I've spoken to Paddy. I just wanted to get Paddy on to talk about everything else, all the other stuff that's going on at Aston Villa over the last couple of days, because it's been busy enough. There's been a lot of information that's come out between. I did a piece on the John Duran appeal. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I haven't really spoken about the Anthony Taylor piece. You guys will know that Anthony Taylor's audio was released, and the audio of the assistants and VAR was released, and I'm very much going to take a back seat in this one, because I think, look, I'm just going to say it was a bit of a nonsense, and who better to talk about that than Paddy? With his I remember Paddy said that Anthony Taylor was the best referee currently at the moment, and that was the hex of all hexes to put on him during that period of time. But yeah, Paddy, look, wasn't exactly the most exonerate or the finest moment for Anthony Taylor, I think, with his decision making in that call.
Well, whatever about it not being the finest moment for Anthony Taylor, it wasn't the finest moment for Coward Webb and his merry men last night. To watch how he dealt with that, and basically told us that, well, we saw the transcription, because you did a podcast yesterday on the transcription. The transcription told us that they couldn't decide between three of them whether the appeal should have been thrown out or not. I'm sorry, but even Newcastle fans in our comments would tell you that was the greatest load of bollocks of a sending off it ever was. And the one thing that struck me about all the wording that was in the video that was released is that somebody said, "Oh, hang on a minute, he's holding somewhere else."
That was Anthony Taylor. Anthony Taylor said that. He said, "Hold on a minute, he's holding something else. I'm going with red card."
Yeah, so Anthony Taylor gave a red card on the basis that he saw Fabian Schär holding somewhere else, and then said the words, if they overrule it, that's fine. It was an absolute farce of the highest order. I'm actually a little bit same as it was last week after losing that game to Newcastle. I'm a bit broken by what I'm listening to. And to release that stuff last night, while it's still happening, whether he has a further ban to answer for. I'm sorry. These guys are fucking seriously making it up as they go along. They have not got a clue what's going on in the world around them. They really don't. It absolutely begs belief that here we are talking about this video being released while there's still an ongoing investigation to whether him kicking the water bottle is going to get him another ban. Now, it would not surprise me in the slightest if he gets another 2-game ban to rule him out of the Arsenal game, just to blow some smoke up their arse and make them feel a little bit happier about themselves. But the wording, the stuff that was used in that conversation to say, "Oh, hang on, he's holding somewhere else," that means you did not see it, Anthony Taylor. That means you did not see the contact. If you can say, "Oh, he's holding somewhere else," the VAR said it's yellow card. It's I think he used the word reckless.
Yeah, he said, something along those lines, and he said caution only.
Yeah, and Michael Owen, playing devil's advocate, apparently asked a question about the left ankle rolling, and I'm sorry, if this is the extent of what we're going to get from the head of referees, he needs to go. He needs somebody else to come and do the job because he's not capable of doing it, because it's an absolute farce, beyond belief, an absolute farce. I even saw a Newcastle fan in the comments last night because I watched your podcast.
He's a great guy. He was in the last one there. He actually watches all our stuff now. Not really good guy. Yeah, really good guy.
Was he the guy that was gifted a free?
He was. The free membership with the Matt Hanlon. And there he is. There he is, Marky. is in here. Yeah. I think it was Matt Hanlon who's gifted another 50 subs. Jesus Christ, Matt. Thank you so much. You are the patron saint. You're a deadly man, Matt. And thank you so much. You are a superstar, as Sniff Red says here. But yes. So look, we're not really getting the right. Okay, we're not doing it. We're litigating the process here. We're discussing the process because it's fair for us to say that, like, the footballing world saw that released last night, and there's very few people can stand over that and go, what have these guys just said to each other here? Where is the actual process here? It was really rushed. We didn't use things weren't used correctly, and they weren't used to the optimal ability, and we end up where we are now with a person getting 3-match ban. And then you talk about the appeals process, or I spoke about the appeals process last night. Is that Stuart Ripley that was the ex-winger, Paddy? There can't be too many Stuart Ripleys. Like, there can't be too many Stuart Ripleys out there.
Well, whatever about it being Stuart Ripley, I thought I was in an episode of Ripley's Believe It or Not at that stage when I was reading the fucking transcript. I just can't get my head around it. It was definitely, was it Alan Wiley the referee?
Alan Wiley was the person they could ask about the law. Yeah, so he was literally like, he was the person who they would.
He was the chairperson, the spokesperson.
Not even that. No, the only thing he could do was be asked. So there was a chairperson there that wasn't named, but the only person that could be asked about the act. So if they had any questions about the law and clarify what the law actually states and what the interpretation of the law is, was him. So yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm at a loss to how they came to that decision between 3 people when every, other than Michael Owen, I'm going to say every pundit I've listened to said, well, apart from the 2 gobshites that were commenting on the game live, who obviously hadn't a clue what was going on in front of them, everybody, including the Newcastle manager, said it was harsh. Like, I don't know how much further you can go at that stage to look for an opinion. But look, our club have decided that we're not going to go balls deep on officials. So I don't know how we fight this. It all seemed. Obviously, we read that there was a statement from the club released by our director of communications, but I just don't know how we fight without the club telling these people what they are, and that probably needs to be done.
Paddy, I was listening to you. I swear I was listening to you, but I was also getting to the bottom of Stuart Ripley. The incredible Mr. Ripley. Where is it?
Talented Mr. Ripley.
The talented. Well, I don't know. Well, depending. If he was the guy who said this, it was an obvious error, then yes, he's talented. If he was the guy who stood in the fence or the guy who said that it wasn't that it wasn't an obvious error, then he's not talented. But later, Stuart Ripley was appointed to the FA's judicial panel and was a member of the 3-man regulatory commission in 2012, determined John Terry was blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So John Terry was guilty of such and such. So it seems like he's been on that judiciary panel for ages. He's now a solicitor. He's now a lawyer. So it is that Stuart Ripley. Told you there couldn't be too many. Just like there aren't too many Neil Dunworths out there. There definitely aren't too many Stuart Ripleys either. So so we did get
plenty of Paddy Kellys out there.
Yeah, Paddy Kelly. So if you turn over a rock in Ireland, there's Paddy Kelly. Someone with the surname Kelly will come out from underneath it. But look, it's once again for fans of other clubs that are here looking at this. We are not really getting the Duran Red card. It's happened. It's done. What we've in this podcast, we spat feathers over the red card, and that's fine. We said then afterwards we wanted to see what the process and what the transparency of the process was. We've gotten transparency. I'm happy with the transparency we've gotten, and in certain ways it gives us closure, but it also puts a dot on the I of the fact that it was a bit shitty the way it was done. You know, it was a bit rushed. It was a bit like there's still a big cloud of muddle over this. There's a cloud of muddle over what happened on the field, and there's a cloud of muddle of what happened in the boardroom afterwards when this decision was being made about the appeal, considering it was only 33% of the people in the room could categorically say that it wasn't an obvious, or that it wasn't an obvious error. And look, we are where we are with regards to that now. If the FA went and banned him again for future games, I put up a photo on Twitter last night of a biplane with a banner on the back of it saying "fuck PGMOL." I think I'll be starting a GoFundMe if they do that, and I'll be flying it over Villa Park for every game for the rest of the season. I think if that does come to fruition.
Well, I think if news breaks tomorrow that he's getting an extra ban of any kind, I think you might need to ban me off the podcast, because I am quite likely to seriously lose my shit. Absolutely lose my shit. Because look, we saw what was it against Leeds that Pep Guardiola kicked the bottle into their dugout and hit somebody in the head and got nothing. So I'm sorry. If anything happens here,
exactly. There's like Arteta. Well, yeah, we've seen Arteta go for referees and stuff like that. I don't know, has he been banned? I know Klopp is talking about referees. Don't know, was he ever banned and stuff like that? But these are managers. Like, if they're banned, it's managers' touchline ban means nothing in 2024 with the amount of communication that they can have. But for a player, I think it's over the top. If they were to ban him for extra games for kicking a water bottle, I think that is over the top. But that's what I was going to say there. Yeah, so it just, the whole thing stinks from the point of view as well of, and I said it in the podcast last night. You know, like it says about intent. The act of brutality is just a silly phrase for that person, whoever it was to use. It was just a silly phrase, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if that was used to be inflammatory because they knew they were going to, like, what happens if a shitty podcast in Ireland trawls through this? We'll get a good laugh out of this if we use the word active brutality. We'll drive that Kelly fella mad. His blood pressure is bad at the best of times. We'll finish him off with the phrase active brutality. But it's like when I was reading it down through it last night, you know, it was even the intention to commit a violent act. I'm like, Joe Pedro, that's the intention to commit a violent act. I know he was a foot and a half away from it, but it isn't thing. Like, you don't have to read a fella's mind when he swings an elbow like that. You do not have to do it. Whereas they're reading Duran's mind in this one. And Paddy, we go back to the whole mind reading and look into my eyes, not around my eyes kind of bullshit that goes on sometimes with referees and VAR.
Especially seeing as the statement from Howard Webb said he couldn't read John Duran's mind.
Yeah.
But on the first game of the season, they said Matty Cash made contact with the ball, but that was not his intention. So they read his mind. So fast forward 5 months, they've now decided they're not reading players' minds.
Yeah.
I think you've got me on a very mild night here, Neil.
And you know what? I'm delighted because we're making more sense. We're making more sense.
I think if we'd have done this last night, I think it might have been completely different. So while I was getting ready to go to dinner last night with my new employers, I was watching your podcast and having a little giggle. So it was probably a good idea that I wasn't actually.
I purposely didn't. I sent you the article or the actual PDF with the thing in it, and then I went, "Fuck! I meant to send that to myself." And then I went to Paddy, "Oh no, I'm just putting this in here for something later." There was no way I was sent you. Do you want to come on and chat about this? Because I knew you'd probably get fired from your new job anyway if they listened to the podcast. Or I'd have to invest in, or I have invested in this, but I'd have to start using it. The whole censor button, which will come in handy, I think, if that does happen. Yes, and Colin Mooney, you're dead right. I knew that name, Brad Pritchard. I knew that name was very familiar. Another expert. I knew it was familiar, but I couldn't have told you he played with Charter. We're going to move on from the John Duran stuff, Paddy, because it's 11 o'clock here in Ireland, and we've got other things we want to talk about. Let's talk about the shirt. Let's talk about the shirt first, and we finish then on transfers. So I flipping love it. I'm a stucker. Look, I'm wearing black today. I've put on I was looking at photographs of myself, Paddy, from just before COVID, and I was a svelte man just before COVID, and I'm not so much anymore. So a black shirt that'll hide the lumps and bumps, Adidas, you take my money and twice on a Sunday. I have no problem paying for it. I'll buy it in large and extra large just in case I do lose this weight again. And yeah, I'm all for it. I'm looking forward. I will be hawking the website at 9 o'clock tomorrow, hoping that the IT issues at Villa Park don't rear their heads, and I can get one sent out here to me in Ireland, because I love it. And I think, you know, there'll probably be a limited run of these, and they're going to be bloody expensive, I'd imagine. They'll be the same price as everything else, and, you know, they're not exactly cheap, but for, like, it's 150 years of our beautiful club, and I just can't wait to own it. It's nice bit of memorabilia, if nothing else.
Well, when I first saw it, I was a little bit underwhelmed, but then I'm reminded that if we went out in purple and yellow polka dots, I'd still buy the shirt.
Yeah.
That's me. And it took a while to look at it, to look at the history around it, to look at the likes of Tony Daly and James Chester in the picture. It melts the heart that we have got this amazing club that we support, 150 years old. And I definitely mean, if we'd have dressed up like Barney on Friday night, I'd have bought the shirt, because that's just part of who we all are and how much we love this. But the badge is amazing. The plainness, the nondescript Adidas, obviously just it's black as well. It fits into it. The siding of Betano and Trade Nation to give up the rights to have their name on the shirt, I think is fantastic, and hats off to them. Wouldn't normally say hats off to any type of betting company, but it's a one-off. It's amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'd actually be okay with West Ham wearing claret and blue on Friday night. I think it would just add to the occasion, because we were the first. So
It will,
no matter what anybody says, they followed. So it might be a little bit of a hat tip to our history if they wear claret and blue on Saturday night or Friday night.
Look, I don't know. I don't think they will. It's like, it'll be like walking. No, that's a stupid analogy. I was going to say, but like coming to a dinner party and coming to a dinner party in my house and bringing my wife. Like you coming to a dinner party in my house and bringing my wife, like it just wouldn't be right. You know, bringing what's already there into the same house. Just to me, it wouldn't sit right. But look, that's what you don't care. It's a one-off game. Gonna go away with 3 points. But the shirt, I think, is. I love the shirt. That's what I'm gonna say. I love the shirt.
Yeah.
And
I think the general consensus is that I seem to be happy.
Yeah. Well, look, you know, I've seen some people say as well that you could have put a big poo emoji in the front of it and everybody would have bought it. And that some people, you know, are underwhelmed by it. And that's fine. We don't turn anybody out a fan in this podcast. We just share our love for the game for the club that is Aston Villa. And there will be people who won't be able to afford it. There will be people who won't like it, and that's fine too. I'm looking forward to it and I'm giddy about it. I just like black. I don't know why. I like those blackout shirts. But they usually do them for retro ones. So it's nice that they're actually doing it for one in season. And that new logo is great. And is brilliant.
Yeah, cannot complain whatsoever, and will be rocked on Friday afternoon with a fistful of dollars, hopefully from Christmas.
Yeah, I think your sound is going mad. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. I just tried to make a change in something. I'm hearing myself back again. I don't know if you turn me up on your computer or whatever, but I can hear myself back again. So anyway, we'll plow ahead. I don't know if anybody else in the comments can hear it. And might turn me down on the speakers if you can, of your laptop, because I know you don't have headphones with you, so that's fine. Paddy, transfers. Been a lot of transfers been linked. There's been a ton. I specifically didn't do one on Streamyard today. I didn't do one on that Gomez guy today. I don't know, has anybody done a video on that Gomez guy? But when I looked at him, I went, you know what, to be honest with you, if I'm going to come straight on and do a podcast about him, I have no idea whether he's good. I can go in and look at his stats and I could make it up and I could fake it till I make it. There's no way. He's played 1,300 minutes for Caen, and I just don't have the knowledge on him. So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna watch as many of those 1,300 minutes that I can possibly find, and see if I can put something out in him. But Donyell Malen looks like he's nearly over the line, Paddy. And I think tonight's news probably leads me to believe that he is over the line, given that Jaden Philogene signs away to Ipswich for 21 million plus add-ons. I think that is super business. But I don't know if you can hear me. I think that is super business.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I think your internet connection has gone a bit skew. What I might do is I might remove you if you want to jump out and jump back in again and see if it cleans it up a small bit. I'll just take you off the screen here for a moment. But yeah, Jaden Philogene, 21 million. What do you guys think of that? I think it's cracking. You know, I think it's a great bit of business. If you think about it, we sold him for 5 and a bit to Hull, and that was 5 and a bit million euros, if I'm not mistaken. We sold him to Hull. We then bought him back for 16, so that's 11 million, slightly less than 11 million in an outlay on him, and then we sell him for 21. So we make 10 million profit on him over the course of 18 months. I think that's pretty decent business. I think it is. I wonder if we've added on any buybacks on him. I don't know. Maybe the club have just cut ties with him now, I think. But I think it's a pretty it's a pretty decent deal. But like, you don't like to lose players that you've brought through the academy, and maybe he goes on and absolutely rips it up for Ipswich, and I think he probably will get better as the years go on. We're just not in a position where we can wait for him to get better now, specifically with the position we're on with that right hand side. It's not exactly a position of strength for us. We need to bring in maybe somebody who's proven it a small bit more. Like if we get Donyell Malen for somewhere between 20 and 25 million. I know they're looking for 30, but there's deals to be done with all these transfers. If you get them for like 20, 25 million, I think that's like to be able to upgrade to a Dutch international from an English under 20 international or under 21 international. You know, I think that's probably good business in anyone's book, specifically somebody with Champions League experience, somebody who's come through the youth setup in an English team. Lest we forget that Donyell Malen came through Arsenal's academy, and then went down to PSV and ripped it up for PSV in a front two and playing off the wing, but mostly in the front two, and then went to Dortmund and then was played solely off the wing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes from him. Also this week we've seen rumors that Diego Carlos is wanted by Jose Mourinho at Fenerbahce. And it looks like they're going to try and move heaven and earth to get him signed. If that is the case, we will certainly need to be busy in the market, because we're going to need somebody who can play centre half, and we're also going to need a right back. But Unai Emery has said that he wants 3 players in this window, so maybe we do see Diego Carlos go out. Maybe we see somebody like I don't know. I know we were linked. Somebody put in there as well that we were linked to the Romanian right back, plays with Ravelicano. Ratiu, I think is how you pronounce it. Romanian right back, pretty good, very good passing. You know, decent statistics. I might do a piece on him because he's actually really interesting. If Skriniar came about, it would be absolutely brilliant altogether, but I just don't see it. I think the man's on something close to 300 grand at PSG, and you know, I just don't know. I just don't know what happens there with a transfer, getting him in on loan or whatever the case is. Could it be Coutinho Mark II? I have no idea. but we'll see what the brain trust comes up with in that instance or that aspect there. I think Paddy's back here. We'll just see. Yeah, I just popped to. No. Yeah, you're still goosed, Paddy. I'm still hearing myself back anyway, and I think it's due to your internet connection. So I don't know. Can you hear me there at all? Yeah, I think that's answered my question. Paddy can't hear me there, so I'll crack on with that. Millwall and Derby County seem to be the two teams that seem to be interested in Louis Barry currently as well on loan. I think both of them would be good loans for him. I would like to see Louis Barry move to a team where he's just going to get minutes, because that was my biggest problem with him leaving Stockport. Is he was guaranteed, like, he goes and continues to play with Stockport, he's probably getting a statue at the end of the season, and they're never dropping it unless he's injured. The team he needs to go to next has to be a team where he gets minutes. I don't care whether they're relegation fodder. I don't care. Well, I do, but I don't care whether they don't need to be a top of the table team for me. He just needs to get minutes. He needs to continue his footballing education and get those minutes at senior football. Couple of guys there. It was is Skriniar already gone to confirm he's gone to Galatasaray? Was that in the last? Maybe that's the case. I just don't think he was ever going to sign for Aston Villa anyway. But if he's gone to Galatasaray, more power to him. I don't see anywhere here that it's been confirmed anyway on Twitter. No one reputable anyway is mentioning it here. Still just saying that he's been linked all around the place. But more power to him if he goes to Galatasaray. I think they've got big bucks there and they're not afraid to spend it. Who else there that we talk about? Where are we? Yeah, so somebody said as well, Juan Fight is linked. Gosh, I think I've done 2 or 3 pieces on Juan Fight in this podcast. Specifically, I think when Unai Emery came in, then I did one on the right back series. Look, we know he's played probably his best football that he ever played. Got into the Argentinian squad and team under Unai Emery, so you can't say no to bringing him back in. And we know he plays that he will give you what an Ezri Konsa would give you out there on that right hand side, and we know Unai Emery likes Ezri Konsa playing on that right hand side. So it's an interesting one. It'd be an interesting one if that was right, if that was an actual link, and if that did come to pass. Where else are we? Yeah, somebody mentions Tammy scoring the winner again. Yeah, that was a bonkers game out in Saudi Arabia. Milan and Inter. So yeah, it was great. It was a really cool game. I watched it back. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it back afterwards, and I didn't actually know the score. I didn't know what happened, and yeah, fair play to Conceição. Sergio Conceição. He's gone in there after his compatriot Paulo Fonseca, and his 2 games, he's won a cup, and has his team firing on all cylinders. So fair play to him. Good manager, and I do have a soft spot for AC Milan. That would be my team in Italy. So more power to him. I hope he goes away and wins the league. Where else are we? Where are we? There was somebody else mentioned something there as well. Yeah, the Villa fan is talking about Skriniar's injury history. I absolutely agree with you as well. That's why I don't think the 300k justifies. That's why I said he might be a Coutinho job as well from that point of view. A lot of money and potential issues, from availability point of view as well. So yes, can we not just go and get the guy the lad Bijan? Do you know what's mad? Looked great during the Euros last year. There was a lot of clamour, a lot of teams were looking at him, and then it just went flat dead from everybody. Like there's nothing. I regularly Google his name and see if there's any real interest in him. There was talks that Napoli were going to sign him. There was talks that Inter were going to sign him. But now it looks like both of those teams have pivoted and they've gone to the young Hungarian kid at Parma. Bodant, I think his name is. Actually a really good player. Will head anything that moves. 21 years of age, 22 years of age, maybe big brick house. But it looks like Inter are going to sign him instead. It looks like a lot of teams are going for. There's quite a lot of young centre halves out there that a lot of teams are taking a chance on. Looks like Man City are going to be signing a guy by the name of Ba BAH from is it I think he might even be playing with Vallecano as well. Young Sierra Leonean player, and it looks like Man City might be looking to do a deal for him as well. I would have no problem with him signing for Aston Villa at 18 years of age. He's a fully grown man at 18 years of age, and he looks a really good player. But there's no link obviously to Aston Villa. It's just my commentary on how teams are looking for those younger players. Obviously the player from the guy from Lille. I can't remember his nationality. I think it's Azerbaijan or somewhere like that. That's supposed to sign for Man City or for Newcastle. Left back, left centre half, young player, 22 years of age as well. Looks like there's a lot of centre halves that are coming of age, very young at the moment, and have very good physical profiles as well. There's another guy at Nantes as well. Neze, I think is his surname. He's another good guy. Actually came across him during the summer, and he really stood out to me. So there's a lot of good young centre halves. I'm not advocating Aston Villa go and buy them. What I'm saying is movement to centre halves, specifically young centre halves going into bigger teams, may open up other centre halves there that may be available that the Villa may be able to look at or may be able to buy. So the merry-go-round is what I'm looking at here. What would happen from that point of view. Obviously, this is nothing new. Manchester United go in, they buy Lenny Yoro, gets injured, but he's a fine player, and in time immemorial, teams have taken chances on younger centre halves. Castellulo Kegba is at RB Leipzig. Just a couple to the guys, Hincapié and Jesus, that guy that Leverkusen signed from Rennes. His name, I won't get his name at this hour of night. But it seems to be a trend that you'll have one young 18, 19, 20-year-old centre half that has super amounts of promise. A lot of teams are doing that at the moment. Then you just have to look at Barcelona, who grew their own, and Koulibaly as well there at centre half. So the future may be at getting really, really young centre halves and having them as your third or fourth centre half and growing with them. But I just don't know, is Unai Emery or Aston Villa that type of team at the moment? Do they have the quality all around that player to be able to throw centre half in as 20 years of age and let him sink or let him swim, just like we kind of did with Gareth Barry back in the day when we gave him a debut at 17 years of age? I don't know, are we in the position squad development wise to be able to do that at the moment? Shane asked here about Dougie Luiz. I contemplated putting out a tweet saying that I'll eat Paddy's right leg live on a podcast if we sign Douglas Luiz, but I'm not that sure that we won't. So Paddy's right leg is safe. I'm not going to eat it. If I was to give it a possibility, I would probably say we've about 35% chance of signing him. I just don't see it. I just don't see the need for him. I see him ending up at City. Or I see him ending up at I could see him end up in the Premier League, no problem. I think it's probably his best bet is if they look to offload him, it'll be late in the window to a Premier League team. Probably deadline day signing. Could be Forest were linked to them today. They're again FFP. We're Forest. We don't care. Give us our 4-point deductions. We'll go with it. Or whatever it is, but it could end up there, could end up back at City. I don't know. Unless we were to sell someone, or unless McGinn's injury is months, I don't see him coming back. I just don't. Not with Ross Barkley in the team as well. If we didn't have someone like a Ross Barkley in there, or we have more injuries, I would say we would be his first port of call. But I just don't know. Will we be? I don't know if the space is there, considering the numbers we need to get in at the back and the wingers that we need to get in as well. I just don't think the opportunity cost is there for us. Where else are we? Yeah, guys, we have our two young players, and Swinkles and Swinkles must be counting his blessings, because Like, that guy was done. ACL injury at 19 years of age. Last year, the contract, the club were considering letting him go. They gave him an extension, a year-long extension, so he could come back from the ACL. They obviously thought he had promise. And next thing you know, Emery comes in. He comes back built like a brick shithouse. Svinkels does, puts him in, and now he's making the bench for Aston Villa at times. So some turnaround for him, and some pat in the back needs to be given to him for his the way he faced down that adversity of having no contract security, and then getting that injury and coming back from it, and really making the best out of that injury situation to flourish in his career. And I hope he grows and grows and grows. And I hope we do have a viable, valuable player come the end of this year there, because he's been trusted to be on the bench in Pau's absence over the last couple of games. Although I don't always see there against Leicester. Well, he was, because Diego Carlos is out. So interesting to see what happens there going forward. Then Freeney, of course, Feeney as well. Then, of course, is very young, and we'll see what his career arc goes, or where his career arc goes as well. And so he mentions that lad, the Colombian lad, or is it Venezuelan lad at Club Brugge? Yeah, name again begins with no, and it escapes me. But he's somebody that was brilliant against us, and he's been absolutely brilliant since then. He looks like a really, really class defender. I watched him in the South American qualifying games, and he looked really, really good as well for his national team too. So fair play to him. Fine player. Right, I am going to leave it at that, guys. It's 20:11 here on a school night, and thanks a million for coming and finding us again. That link didn't throw you directly into our link. I do apologize about that. I don't know what went wrong, but I'm going to try and figure it out. But we're going to leave it at that, guys. It's as I say, it's 20:11. I am going to hit the hay. But thanks so much for joining us. On Friday, we'll be back with Team Sheet Tantrum, post-match podcast, everything like that. I might do a small piece tomorrow if there's any more on the on any of the transfers, but we're going to take a small bit of a hiatus maybe tomorrow on that, unless something concrete comes out in Malen or any of the other transfers that are there. But we will see you on Friday for Team Sheet Tantrums and post matches again. Thanks a million, everybody. We will see you. Mind yourselves. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.